Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining. This is the Oracle Autonomous Database Learning Lounge. I am Marco Serencibi, part of the product management team for Autonomous Database. And today we're going to have a great session. We'll be talking all about the Select AI agents, right? So Mark Hornick is joining us today, and he's going to be basically telling you guys what is, Select AI, a quick recap on it, Select AI agents, but also the use cases, right? And he's going to introduce some pre-built agents that we have right now. And then he's going to do some demos of those agents, and then talk about where to get more information and where to get you guys started. Right? So we're going to have a Q&A as well. So the session is for you guys. So anytime you have a question, please make sure to use the Q&A in Zoom. Okay? And then we're going to actually share with you guys links using chat. Okay? So you take a look at the chat. We're going to be distributing links for you. Right? The recording of this session, as well as all the other previous sessions, is available on the link you see in the screen. And speaking of links, here are a set of links I'm just sharing with you guys right now. So this is a set of links that get you guys started with Autonomous Database. You get more information. You join us in social media. You see, all the information about new webinars and things like that. Okay. Also, you can also join our external Slack. So if you have questions, right, in external Slack, we are looking at these questions as well, so we can help you with anything you would like to ask. So take a look, and you can register and search for the channel Oracle Autonomous Database there. All right. Okay. So with that said, thank you very much, Mark, for joining us today. I will stop sharing and let you share your screen. And thank you very much again, and take it away.
All right, well, thank you very much, Marcos. All right, so welcome to this session on Get Started with the Select AI Agent Framework and Pre-Built AI Agents. Now, you've probably heard a lot about AI agents and want to take advantage of this powerful technology. So in this session, as Marcos mentioned, you'll be learning about how combining AI agents with your Oracle database helps to simplify solution development and deployment while maintaining the security features of your database environment. So again, I'm Mark Hornick with AI and Machine Learning Product Management for Autonomous AI Database and Oracle AI Database. And I'm joined by Sanket Jain, Sandeep Kaut, Sherry Lamonica, and Chandra Putha, who will help address your questions in the Q&A both during and after the presentation. Now, here's Oracle's standard safe harbor statements, as I'll be mentioning some roadmap items as we have various points in the presentation. Now, just in case you're new to AI agents, let's briefly introduce the concept. Now, AI agents are like smart helpers, right? Software programs designed to independently carry out specific tasks or solve problems for you. And they can read information, make decisions, and take actions all on their own based on the instructions and goals that you give them. But at another level, you can think of AI agents as autonomous or semi-autonomous software programs designed to interact with their environment, collect and use data, formulate next actions, and perform tasks to achieve specific goals. And they're capable of perceiving their environment, reasoning about problems, and acting by invoking functions that may even affect the outside world. So, Marcos, let's take a quick poll of our audience. How familiar are you with AI agent technology? Perhaps you've built your own production AI agents or built AI agents for fun, POCs or demos. Maybe you're familiar with the concept of AI agent, or perhaps totally new to AI agents. And I suspect that some may have only used AI and LLMs through chatbots. Okay. Oh, quite an interesting result here. We've got the majority being familiar with the concept. We're at about 43% there. About 25% are new to AI agents, and less than 10% have only used AI through chatbots. And a good number have also built their own production AI agents, and even built agents for POCs and demos. So this is really great. It's good that we have a good mix for the audience. I think you'll get a lot out of this. Now, for those of you who are newer to agentic AI, let's compare it with generative AI. I suspect that you've all used LLMs through various chatbots as of 2026, But as we've seen from the poll, at least some of you may be wondering how agentic AI differs from generative AI. Now, of course, generative AI is primarily focused on creating content, such as text, images, code, SQL, and this is based on explicit prompts, typically responding within the boundaries of a single request and with limited decision making beyond the prompt itself. Now, agentic AI, on the other hand, is focused on doing. It can operate with greater autonomy to achieve goals through multi-step planning and execution. It can proactively adapt based on feedback and even integrate with external systems, tools, and APIs, as we've said. Now, AI agents create value by moving beyond answering questions to performing actions. They can understand an objective, plan steps, use tools and external systems, and complete work with optional human oversight. And they help to increase productivity, reduce cycle time, achieve consistency and quality at scale. They're always on and can yield faster responses with 24/7 operation. So they have a lot of value. But what are some typical agentic AI use cases? Well, we often look to AI agents to streamline work by gathering and analyzing large volumes of data, perhaps engaging users in natural goal-oriented conversations, and orchestrating tasks through secure integrations with enterprise systems. Now, for example, in the case of financial research or loan processing agents, they can automate intake and verification steps, produce credit scores or risk checks, detect anomalies or fraud, and generate summaries for human decision makers. In customer and patient-facing scenarios like customer support, shopping, or healthcare, they can personalize recommendations, answer questions, route tickets, escalate issues, and guide users through complex processes like checkout or intake. Now, in operational settings like DevOps, agents can monitor signals like logs, metrics, or alerts, identify likely issues, and effect approved fixes or escalations. Now, success is typically measured by increased speed and accuracy, reduced manual effort, improved outcomes like resolution rates or approval times, and greater user satisfaction while maintaining governance, auditability, and compliance. Now, on a more database-centric note, agentic use cases can include enhanced SQL generation or database provisioning and managing the database lifecycle. For database developers, it's important to be able to explore and manage your database objects and understand or troubleshoot database code using natural language. Agents can also make it easier to work with tools like Jira, GitHub, cloud storage, as well as balancing network loads or managing credentials. But before diving into the Select AI agent framework itself, I'll briefly review the main features of Oracle Select AI, which forms the foundation of our agent framework. Now, Oracle Select AI serves as your in-database AI gateway to a wide range of AI providers and models. As shown on the right, you can access AI providers from OCI GenAI and OpenAI to AWS and privately hosted models. Select AI simplifies your solution architecture and helps streamline development using the secure Oracle environment, whether from SQL, Python, or on the roadmap, Java. Of course, you can use Select AI from standard SQL IDEs, but also the Ask Oracle Select AI chatbot. This is a sample Apex app that's available to you on GitHub. There's also the private agent factory no-code developer environment, and one of the key topics of today's session, pre-built AI agents. Now, you'll see the Ask Oracle chatbot in action in some of our demos later in the session, and I'll touch on the agent factory as well. But now, let's look at some of Select AI's automated functionality. Select AI supports natural language to SQL to easily generate, run, and explain SQL queries from text prompts, making data extraction and insights more accessible to more users. Now, you can also engage with LLMs for chatbot-like behavior. Simply enter your prompt, whether it's to answer questions, generate custom emails or code, or extract sentiment. The retrieval augmented generation, or RAG functionality, leverages Oracle AI vector search, enabling you to ask questions and receive more accurate, relevant responses powered by content from your trusted documents. Now, Select AI RAG automatically creates and maintains your vector index and automates the RAG workflow for you. Select AI also supports generating synthetic data. Here you use your LLM to create data that matches your database structure. And this is especially useful for testing, debugging, or kickstarting new projects when real data isn't available. On the agent front, Select AI forms the foundation for the Select AI agent framework and enables creating and running in-database AI agents to automate tasks and streamline processes. Select AI also supports text summarization, optimized for larger text documents, and translation using the OCI translation service with other translation service options on the roadmap. Now, our goal for Select AI is to help you benefit from powerful AI-driven features, all from your Oracle environment. Now, the core Select AI object is what we call the AI profile. And since I'll be referring to this object multiple times throughout this session, it's worth spending a minute to introduce it. This is where you configure how Select AI should interact with AI models. Here, we're showing an AI profile for NL-to-SQL generation. You choose your provider, LLM, the list of tables or views you want the LLM to consider when generating SQL queries. And this is just one simple example of an AI profile. Users can specify various settings to affect Select AI and AI model behavior, as well as work with property graphs for NL-to-SQL graph queries, vector indexes for RAG, AI agent use, or just basic chat interaction with your LLM. Now, here's a summary of the main capabilities available by database type and version, since that's usually a popular question. The main differences between 19C and 26AI involve the RAG-enabled features, which rely on AI vector search, a 26AI feature. Now, Select AI has expanded support for Oracle AI Database, enabling both cloud and on-premises databases with generative AI functionality. So, Marcus, let's take another poll. Which of the Select AI features have you tried? Perhaps natural language to SQL, NL-to-SQL, retrieval augmented generation, chat, synthetic data generation, agents, text summarization, text translation, or agent tools exposed as MCP tools. All right, the numbers are coming in, and it looks like we've got roughly 2/3 have worked with the natural language to SQL generation. Got close to 50% on RAG, another 2/3 for chat. Synthetic data generation, about 15% of folks, about a quarter of you working with agents, and text summarization coming in at about a third. Translation, about 20%. And even agent tools exposed as MCP tools, a good 22%. That's excellent. Well, thank you for that feedback. That's really good to see what folks are working with. All right, so we'll continue and take a closer look at the Select AI agent framework. Now, this framework allows you to build, deploy, and manage agents with support for the React agentic pattern. Now, while the DBMS Cloud AI package supports the Select AI functionality, an additional package, DBMS Cloud AI Agent, supports this framework. The agent interacts with your LLM, specified by its AI profile, by sending an augmented prompt and receiving back the identified tools to use or responses to drive the agent's next steps. The framework supports both short-term and long-term memory for multi-turn chat conversations. Additionally, it enables import and export using the Oracle Open Agent specification, enabling interoperability with other tools that support that format. Now, the React agentic pattern supports a wide range of use cases, following chain of thought reasoning, tool use and evaluation or reflection until a satisfactory outcome is achieved or termination criteria are met. Now, the agent interacts with the LLM, which receives only an augmented prompt and returns the tools or the answers that are needed by the agent to continue its evaluation and tool invocation. The database controls the agentic process based on LLM responses, enforcing Oracle's security controls on data and tool invocation. Now, one key advantage of in-database agents is reducing the hidden data risks associated with agentic AI memory. Now, while agentic AI frameworks are useful for development, in production, they can inadvertently expose sensitive data through external memory layers. Running AI agents often means that data flows and is stored outside the database, such as in external vector stores or on developer machines, creating potential compliance and governance gaps. Now, the Select AI agent framework addresses this by keeping agentic processes and memory within your database. Data access follows established database policies, and all vectors and prompts remain securely inside the database. In addition, auditing and lifecycle governance are built in for greater data protection. Now, as I mentioned, the Select AI framework is integrated with Oracle Database Security, and this occurs along multiple dimensions, enabling lockdown profiles, virtual private database, data redaction, real application security, role-based access controls, and others, as you see here. And as such, Select AI respects your database security specification for data retrieval and manipulation. Further, using the AI profile, Select AI enforces read-only sessions, verifies object list adherence, and data protection. So see the blog that's linked here for guidance on building AI apps using Select AI with a virtual private database. So let's move on to the Select AI pre-built agents. Now, to help you realize the benefits of agentic automation faster, we've introduced our initial set of Select AI pre-built agents. Using your AI profile and relevant credentials, these AI-powered agents help accelerate innovation and adoption, delivering a wide range of capabilities out of the box. Now, built on the Select AI agent framework, these agents are easy to customize and deploy. Simply download and run the sample code. And if you want, you can adapt them to fit your organization's needs. The result is a simpler path to AI adoption with fewer technical hurdles, shorter development cycles, and greater operational efficiency and consistency. Now, with broader access to AI-driven workflows and faster automation, you can spend less time on repetitive tasks and more time focusing on strategic priorities. So here's the set of pre-built AI agents that you can start using today. Each agent can perform a broad range of actions through a natural language interface. Example requests include, if I rename this column, what code do I need to update? Or, list all the OCI regions I'm subscribed to. Now, these agents are available from our GitHub repository and span capabilities such as enhanced NL-to-SQL for data retrieval, provisioning an autonomous instance, inspecting database objects to understand behavior and dependencies, and assisting with troubleshooting and issue resolution. Now, there are also agents for using Jira and working with cloud repositories like GitHub. For OCI, we have natural language interaction for network load balancing, object storage, and Vault. Now, you can explore these directly from the GitHub repository, but I'll highlight just a few of these agents here, starting with the autonomous database provisioning agent. If you've ever wanted to just ask for an autonomous database to be created and not use the OCI console, this could be the agent for you. It enables you to provision and manage your autonomous databases conversationally. You can run lifecycle operations to start, stop, and restart your database, as well as scale CPU and storage, among many other capabilities. Now, the agent's goal is to understand your intent before taking action, asking for missing or ambiguous inputs or requests. And perhaps most important is that it requires explicit confirmation for any destructive actions. Now, the OCI object storage agent enables natural language-driven automation for working with object storage. Again, instead of using the OCI console, you can perform tasks simply by asking. Manage buckets and objects, apply policies, monitor work requests, among other features. For example, you just might ask, make the bucket finance reports writable. So next, let's look at the NL-to-SQL data retrieval agent, which combines NL-to-SQL generation and web intelligence, among other capabilities, all from your database. Consider a scenario where your question can't be answered by using only the data in your database, like what percentage of your country's residents are customers. This requires knowing your country's population, which likely isn't in your enterprise database. So, questions like this benefit from combining database knowledge with web search results where external knowledge is missing. Further, we know that real-world query generation can be challenging for an LLM due to ambiguous column names, perhaps predicates that lead to zero-row results, and simple syntax errors. Using an AI agent, such issues can be addressed by providing errors or results to the LLM and possibly adjust the generated SQL. So let's look at a demo of Agentic NL-to-SQL. Now, in this demo, the agent is configured to use the sales history schema, and we want to leverage web search for that. Now, I'll just ask a simple question of the total UK population. How many are my customers, and what are the total sales in the UK? Now, once the prompt is submitted, the agent automatically begins analyzing it step by step. First, it constructs and runs the required SQL queries to fetch customer counts and total sales figures. And then it goes a step further by searching the web to retrieve the latest population of the UK. And once all the information is collected and processed, we see the result. Now, you can also see the sources that were drawn upon to achieve this result. And further, you can review the agent logs that contain the detailed steps taken by the agent for greater transparency. So now let's see an introduction and demo of the database inspect agent.
In this demo, I'll showcase the Select AI Database Inspect agent using the Ask Oracle chatbot. This agent is built with the Select AI agent framework in Oracle Autonomous AI Database and is designed specifically for developers. This pre-built agent, along with several others, is available in our samples GitHub repository. Instead of manually searching through tables, packages, or PL/SQL source files, you can simply ask natural language questions about your database objects. It helps developers with code inspection, dependency analysis, debugging PL/SQL logic, understanding legacy code, generating documentation, and assessing the impact of database changes. In addition, this agent also integrates with Jira for issue tracking and GitHub for source code management, enabling a seamless workflow from issue analysis to code fixes and deployment. Now let's use the Ask Oracle chatbot to interact with our database inspect agent. First, I ask the agent, "What tasks can you help me with?" The agent explains the capabilities it provides. It can analyze database objects such as tables, views, procedures, functions, triggers, packages, and types, trace dependencies between objects, search for references across the codebase, and even generate visual diagrams of object relationships. Next, I ask the agent to list the database objects currently available for inspection. The agent immediately retrieves and displays the objects available in the schema. This includes tables such as customers, orders, products, inventory, functions like calc discount amount, packages like checkout PKG, and integration packages for Jira and GitHub. Let's use Jira to investigate issues. I ask the agent to retrieve the Jira issues from the customer orders project. The agent connects to Jira and returns the list of issues. Here, we can see issue number 4, which focuses on enhancing the calc discount amount function with improved validation and discount cap handling. Next, I ask the agent to analyze issue number 4 and identify the database objects impacted by this issue, including dependencies and the root cause. The agent inspects the schema and the function logic and determines that the root cause is missing validation and maximum discount cap handling, which may result in incorrect discount calculations during order processing. Once the analysis is complete, I ask the agent to generate the fix and update the code for the affected objects. The database inspect agent produces the enhanced PL/SQL function with the necessary validation logic and discount cap handling. I click Open in Editor, and the generated code opens in the built-in code editor, so I review, and if needed, refine the fix directly, and run the code in database. Now, let's move to GitHub integration. I ask the agent to retrieve the Git repositories associated with my account. The agent connects to GitHub and lists the repositories, including the customer orders repository, which contains the PL/SQL code for this application. Next, I ask the agent to list the files inside the customer orders repository. The agent retrieves the repository structure, including tables, functions, packages, and deployment scripts. Next, I ask the agent to commit and push the code changes that fix issue number 4. The agent commits the updated function with a meaningful commit message describing the improvements, validation checks, and maximum discount cap handling, and pushes the changes to GitHub. Finally, I ask the agent update the Jira comments and close the issue number 4. The issue is analyzed, fixed, and committed to source control, all using natural language prompts. This demonstrates how the Select AI database inspect agent, used through the Ask Oracle chatbot, can significantly simplify database development by combining database agent intelligence, Jira issue tracking, and GitHub version control into a single AI-driven developer experience.
Okay, so it's worth noting that the inspect agent is based on 26AI, since it uses AI vector search for some of its functionality. Other agents can be used from 26AI as well as 19C databases. Okay, so that brings us to our next poll, Marcus. Which of these pre-built AI agents, even though we haven't gone over all of them in detail, do you find most appealing? Is it the NL-to-SQL data retrieval, autonomous database provisioning and lifecycle agent, maybe the database inspect agent we just saw, the separate agent for insight using Jira, cloud repository connector for GitHub and other type cloud repositories, OCI network load balancer, OCI object storage, or maybe OCI Vault. So we see coming back from this, more than half, almost 2/3, are interested in the NL-to-SQL data retrieval agent. We have the autonomous database agent coming in at about 1/3. The database inspect agent has 2/3 worth of interest from everybody. Jira, cloud repository connector, and even the agent vault, those are all about 20%, and the network load balancer about 15 as well. All right, so that's a pretty good showing for that. Hopefully you'll be able to take advantage of these and gain benefits in your environment.
Right, and then in the meantime, guys, Sherry and Chandra have been sharing links. So all of the links that Mark is talking about, the sessions, the blogs, right, that you guys should check. Check out the webinar chat. Okay, so you're going to find lots of links there that are being shared.
Excellent. Thank you, Marcus, for that. Okay, so let's take a closer look at the anatomy of these pre-built agents. So our GitHub repository provides folders, one for each agent, and in each folder is a README file that describes its corresponding agent and what you need to get started. Now, before installing an agent from your repository, there are a few prerequisites. Of course, start with your database and enable the user with the appropriate privileges for Select AI. And if you're using Oracle AI database, you'll need to explicitly install the DBMS Cloud AI and DBMS Cloud AI agent packages. Now, depending on the agent, you'll need to have network access and credentials available for any external integrations used by the agent, the tools in particular. And then create your Select AI profile to specify the AI provider, LLM, and other attributes as needed by your agent. Recall that we showed an example of an AI profile specification earlier in the session. Now, each agent implementation follows a two-layer organization using separate scripts, one for the tools layer and one for the agent layer, which includes the Select AI agent object definitions. Now, run the installation scripts in the agent subfolder as admin or another suitably privileged user. And it's worth noting that you can reuse the pre-built agent tools in AI agents that you create. And, these same tools can be accessed as MCP tools if you enable your autonomous AI database as an MCP server. The last session that I did for the Learning Lounge, we focused on the MCP server for ADB, and that will give you some greater detail as how you might achieve that. Now, to install one of these agents, first run the tool script and then the agent script, and you'll be prompted to specify inputs like the AI profile name, among other settings. And where needed, additional credentials may be required for those tools like web search or email notifications that you want to send. So see each agent's README for the specific details. And since all the code is available, you can customize and enhance these agents for your domain and workflows. Now, although each script will prompt you for information, you can explicitly set such values in the table Select AI Agent Config. This is a key value table for storing information that's used by the agent. The script automatically populates this table. Now, after the agent is installed, you can also provide or update configuration parameters, for example, using the insert statements as shown here for the OCI object storage agent. So let's drop down a level to understand how to create agents themselves. What types of objects do you create and use with Select AI Agent Framework? What does an agent look like at the code level? So the Select AI Agent Framework supports declaratively defining several database objects, enabling agentic workflows. And these include tools, tasks, agents, and agent teams. Now, tools can include core Select AI capabilities like SQL and RAG, web search, notifications via email or Slack, and custom PL SQL routines your agents can invoke. Support for MCP server invocations and Select AI agents themselves as tools are on the roadmap. And it's worth noting that Python and R code can be invoked using Oracle Machine Learning embedded execution via custom PL SQL functions as well. Now, as I noted earlier, these same tools can be exposed as MCP tools on Autonomous AI Database serverless when that database is configured for using the built-in MCP server. Tasks may involve actions such as fetching logs, generating emails, or classifying issues. A task may specify tools that the LLM can select to complete the task. Each task has a set of instructions that's provided to the LLM to guide the agent's behavior. Agents specify and describe the role to be played, such as data analyst, data scientist, or sales representative. And agent teams pair agents with tasks to enable specialized agentic workflows. For example, creating a customer support agent or a data science agent. Now, not to get too far into details, but to give you a sense of how you could create your own Select AI agent objects, let's start with creating a simple PL SQL-based tool. And by the way, you'll get to work with some of these examples in the Select AI Agent Live Lab workshop that I'll mention toward the end of the session as well. Now, to create a tool from a custom PL SQL function, like updating a customer's order status in a database table, we'll first create the function and then the tool object. Using create tool, we give the tool a name and specify two attributes, the instruction and the function name. The instruction is used by the LLM to understand what the tool is capable of and how to use it. The function names the PL SQL function that should be invoked. The description, although not used by the LLM, is intended for providing additional information about the tool, for example, for the development team or other users. Now, before looking at the code to create a task, let's look at how we might instruct the LLM to complete a task. In this case, how to process a product return request. The agent might first ask the customer the reason for the return. For example, the customer found an item cheaper elsewhere and may want a price match, or perhaps the product is defective. If it's a price match, we could specify that A, the agent asks the customer to provide a price match link, B, use the web search tool to get the price from that link, C, ask the customer if they want a refund, and finally send an email notification if the customer accepts the refund. If it's a defective product, we could detail the process for handling a defective return. So now let's look at a more complete task. To create a task, we'll invoke the procedure createTask and give the task a name and attributes. Instruction, similar to what we discussed in the previous slide, and tools, which list one or more tools, if any are available to the agent, to perform the task. Now here we have a more complete set of instructions handling the various reasons why the customer may be making a return. And this task can use the tool update order status, which would update a table in your database that we created just a moment ago. Now next, we create an agent using the create agent procedure. We give it a name and attributes, profile name, which specifies the AI profile with the provider and LLM that we should use, and the role. This is a description of sort of who the agent is supposed to be and how the agent should behave. Here, we're saying our customer return agent is an experienced customer return agent who deals with return requests. It can be interesting to try different role descriptions to see how the agent will respond. For example, you may want your agent to be friendly and chatty, or concise and businesslike. Now, finally, we create the agent team using the procedure createTeam. Again, we specify a name for the team, a description, and some attributes. The agent's attribute provides agent and task pairs, indicating that the agent performs the task. You can specify multiple agent task pairs, and these will be performed sequentially. On our roadmap is expanding to support supervisor agents that allow for non-sequential processing, but more on that later. Now, earlier, you saw how we can interact with agents using the Ask Oracle Select AI chatbot, as we saw for the inspect agent. And you can also use the SQL command line. First, you set your team, in this case, the sales return team, and this sets the conversational context for your database session. Then, use the select clause with the keyword AI and the action agent, followed by your prompt. Here, we start by saying, I want to return a smartphone case. And we see the agent respond by inquiring, why do you want to return it? We respond, the item is defective. So in this example, there's an implicit conversation to provide context across invocations. And this dialogue will continue until the return is completed per the instructions specified in the task we saw earlier. Now, in addition, the DBMS Cloud AI agent package provides a run team function for programmatic invocation. First, we'll explicitly create a new conversation for long-term memory. This allows the agent to keep track of and use our previous prompts for context. And then we'll invoke the run team function, specifying the team name, your prompt, and any parameters like the conversation ID that we created on the left. You can invoke the run team function multiple times using the same conversation ID with your prompts as you engage with the agent. Now, moving up a few levels of abstraction, you've likely heard about the private agent factory. Well, if you're not familiar with Agent Factory, it's a no-code platform designed to help you build and deploy AI agents using a drag-and-drop UI. It's free to use with your database instance. You can download and get started using the links shown here. The latest release, 23.5, includes an integration with Select AI and the Select AI agent framework. Now, among the components in Agent Builder are Select AI specific components for constructing your AI agent. And you can also visually configure credentials, AI profiles, and vector indexes. In addition, you can combine Select AI specific components with other Agent Factory agents and workflows. This is a view of the user interface highlighting the Select AI related tools. So highlighted on the left, you see the Select AI components for creating tools, tasks, agents, and teams. There's also a Select AI component for interacting with Select AI via chat, NL-to-SQL, and RAG, where you can combine these in a single agent factory workflow for more advanced use cases. And further, with this Select AI workflow component, you can include Select AI behavior in other agent factory workflows. So on the right, we've defined a customer return agent. Tools are linked to tasks, which are linked to agents, and then agent teams. Now, once you've designed and configured your agent, you can use the playground to try it out using Agent Factory's built-in chatbot. All right, and so this brings us to the roadmap. Let's take a look at a few of the capabilities that we have on the roadmap. Now, Select AI Admin is an AI agent that supports database administration. Can be used with the Select AI agent, the Select AI action admin to help diagnose and optimize SQL performance, among other features. For example, we might ask, find any issues with queries on the employee table. And the agent may come back with guidance needed to address this, including code to run, like gather system statistics, as shown here. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to expand the agentic patterns that Select AI can support with the introduction of a supervisor agent. And this pattern enables adaptive orchestration by having a central supervisor evaluate each task at runtime and dynamically decide what to do next. Now, the supervisor agent delegates to worker agents, which enable them to focus on well-defined, narrow responsibilities to improve accuracy, modularity, as well as reuse. And the goal is to simplify the developer task by avoiding manually designing and maintaining interagent workflows. The supervisor manages the context propagation, routing, and a coordination end-to-end. It also scales cleanly so teams can add, replace, or retire worker agents without redesigning the overall architecture. And also, auditability is maintained as each delegation and outcome is captured in task history tables, helping with traceability and observability for governance and troubleshooting. Now, I'll mention a few additional roadmap items, including enabling remote MCP servers as tools for use with our agent framework or as MCP tools themselves. For remote agents, you'll be able to add a remote agent to your agent team using the agent-to-agent or A2A protocol. And this is an open standard designed to enable seamless communication and collaboration between AI agents across different platforms and frameworks. Now, just as you'll be able to create tools that access remote MCP servers, you'll be able to create agents that access remote agents via A2A. Similarly, we'll be enabling autonomous AI database as an A2A server that exposes AI agent teams, similar to what we did for tools with the MCP server. We'll include support for dynamic agent planning and parallel tool usage, which builds on the supervisor agent enhancement. Parallel tools, of course, enable have reduced elapsed time for agents to complete their tasks. And a last item that I'll mention is agent memory management, which persists information across sessions. This enables stateless LLMs to access prior interactions, preferences, and context. So as I mentioned earlier, we published the Live Lab Get Started with AI Agents using Select AI on Autonomous AI Database with the URL shown here. It takes you through a range of scenarios for creating a sales return agent, from the initial environment setup to building and then refining that agent. And you'll learn how to define and use different types of tools like custom PL SQL functions for database updates and email generation, as well as RAG. You may find the following resources useful. You can check out our blogs, documentation, other live labs, components in our GitHub repository, and introductory videos. And so with that, thanks for learning about the Select AI Agent Framework and the pre-built AI agents. Marcos, how are we doing on the Q&A front?
Right. I think we still have a good chunk to cover here in terms of questions. If you want to go and take a look, I think we still need to go over a few questions here, right? But some of the most basic one, I think one of the questions that was sent in the beginning, which is interesting, like how are agents different from, a business process management automation, right? And some of those bots.
Well, I think they share a lot of commonality, right, in terms of what they're trying to achieve. The idea with agents, of course, is that we're leveraging the AI capabilities, generative AI, and combining this, in our case, with database functionality as well in a more seamless environment. So I think that they're really trying to accomplish very similar objectives in the end.
Right. Other ones are alternatives. That's also an interesting question, right? Can you create an agent in OCI console itself, right? Why use the AI agents in the database, in the ADB, right? That was a question.
Yes, that's an excellent question. I mean, there are a number of ways in which agents can be created. There are external frameworks, there are other frameworks even within the Oracle environment. When it comes to the database, I think the one thing that I highlighted early on is this notion of sort of information leakage or data leakage, where there can be different layers in your environment where information might be stored or reside. And so if you want to keep that in the database environment, managed by the security norms that the database offers, that's perhaps the most significant reason for leveraging the Select AI agent framework to accomplish that. Of course, there are pros and cons with any type of solution, and so it really depends on your specific requirements for choosing the implementation approach that you'd like to use.
All right. The next one, there was someone that wants to create tools with guidance from an agent. I guess you can create tools from the guidance from an LLM, right? Not exactly from an agent itself, unless you create an
Not yet,
agent
at
that
least.
actually helps you. You
Yeah,
could
I
create
mean, I
an
think
agent
that's
that helps create tools. Yeah, that could be something, right?
exactly, and I think that that could be one on the roadmap for the future. Certainly, it's a worthwhile objective to help users create these agents by just asking for the type of thing that they want. So maybe we'll get to that.
Right, right. Another one here was, what about security for AI agents? What types of security standards or best practices?
Well, I mean, from the security standpoint, that's one of the highlights that we raised earlier, is that because Select AI and Select AI Agent is running in the database, we take advantage of the security mechanisms that the database has. Virtual private database. There's role-based access control. There are a number of other options that the database offers to allow restrictions on what users can see, what functionality can be invoked, and the database is controlling that. So I think that those are all significant benefits of what the database has to offer for these types of agents.
All right. Another one was whether you can select Grok 4 in the AI agent factory. I think so, right? That should be.
Oh yes, most definitely. And there's a wide range of models that you can use to support the agents. But the key is not all LLMs are equally good at supporting agentic needs. And so, we found this when we were working with the data science agent that we have in limited availability for Oracle machine learning, that if you specify a less powerful LLM, the type of results you get will not be what you expect or even being able to handle that. So you need to have a sufficiently powerful LLM. And certainly Grok 4 is a good one to have in that case.
Right, right. And I'll launch the poll here, guys, just to know how you guys felt this session today. But I'll continue with the Q&A here. All right. Someone asked whether private agent like Olama. I'm not sure if I understood what the question was, but I think what maybe is a model, right? So yeah, we support private
Yes,
models,
private
right?
LLM,
Yes,
private
yeah,
LLMs like
Mhm.
Olama can be supported. Yes.
Yes.
yes. And other questions. Yeah, someone asking about the agent framework in the private agent factory, pointing to the AI agent that was built in the database shown earlier or made completely in private agent factory. So
Yeah,
I think,
no, that is the goal for Private Agent Factory. I mean, that's what we have available in the released version, where you can look at existing agents, but more importantly, you can construct agents from scratch using the drag and drop interface.
all right. Let's see what else here. Is there any plan to embed a small LLM inside the Oracle database, as MySQL HeatWave has?
Well, in terms of embedding, I think that the better way to look at it is we've recently released this component for the private AI services container. And that is something that is currently allowing us to work with embedding models that are near database, if you will. And ultimately, that will also be supporting LLMs. So in a sense, you'll have that capability there. Of course, these are LLMs that you would provide. In terms of the database itself, we've had some discussions on that topic, and we'll have to wait and see what comes of that.
Actually, even MySQL HeatWave is not inside the database. It is a container near the database. So similar technology is the private AI container for Oracle database.
Excellent.
Excellent.
Thank you, Sanket. Okay, another question is related to Exadb or Exadata database dedicated versus ADB, whether you can use it in the Exadatabase, in the Exadb dedicated. I believe the Select AI
Yes.
tools are available, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, I
that
think there are
will
lots
be
of questions on the same topic. Yes, so it is available in every Oracle platform, Oracle database platform, autonomous on-premises, 19C, 26 AI. It's available everywhere.
yeah. Okay. Yes,
Oh,
even
one question I see there, Marcos, is if you're doing, yeah, well, the 19C on premises, how will you get an LLM there? I mean, if you're on premises and you don't want to work with an AI provider on the internet, you could use a privately hosted LLM. And so your database would be able to connect directly to that.
right, that's a good question. And the MCP server for Exadata database dedicated.
Yeah, we're supporting MCP server currently on autonomous database serverless only and a dedicated region, of course, but not the other flavors. We are looking at some possibilities there.
Okay. All right. Others asking if they create agents through the OCI Enterprise AI. Can I use it with Private Agent Factory? I don't see why not. As long as it's supported, right? So
One would expect so. I don't have a good answer for that one.
What is the question? Sorry.
yeah, whether if they create an agent using OCI Enterprise AI, whether they can
Yes.
use it with a
Yes.
Private Agent Factory.
No, they are different. Private Agent Factory is helping you create agents within that VM itself or select one. OCI agents are Python based, so you could import that, but that's a different ADK framework.
Right. Okay. Are Select AI agents available in Oracle maintained Docker containers? I don't know if they are already there, but the agents are available in GitHub, right? The pre-built
Correct.
agents, right? So
Yeah,
if you
those
have a
have to be
Docker container with,
installed in the local database. Yes,
yeah, so if you have an Oracle database running on a Docker container, you can easily install them, right? Following the
correct.
instructions. Select AI framework on multi-cloud, Mark.
Well, it's part of the database, and yeah, so if the database is present in the multi-cloud environment, certainly you can leverage Select AI there.
Yeah, so and ideally, I mean, if you have things running on the other clouds, you can install select, you can use Select AI, right? Because with Autonomous Database, you have it there. But also you can use, data, right? If you have data spread out, you can use something we call an AI for live data, right? So it's Select AI and Autonomous being used as a proxy, right, to data that is, residing
Yeah,
somewhere else, even in on-premise, right? And then you can still create
absolutely.
agents and use that to work with that data.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the notion of the AI proxy database is really powerful for having federated queries that can have data in remote sources as well. So even if you're using, say, your OCI database, you can reach out to non-Oracle resources as well as other Oracle data sources. But if your database is in another uh, cloud provider's environment, then you can also reach out to other databases from there as well. It's the same basic pattern that we enable.
Excellent. Yeah. Uh, let's see more. Do you have architectures on Select AI that can be used for on-prem deployments?
Well, by virtue of being in the database, yes. One of the slides I showed earlier showed where Select AI is available. And so we're available in 19C and 26 AI databases. For the version on premises, it would be the 23.26.1 and 19.30 that you would need to have the range of functionality for Select AI and Select AI agent. The one thing that is different, I would just say, is that with 19C, we don't have the RAG related functionality, anything that requires AI vector search. Sanket, you were going to say?
Yeah, we are also planning to publish more blogs around on-premises database so that it's easier to follow those.
All right. One other question, do Select AI agents and private AI agent factory custom build agents both have the capability to connect to any external LLMs using MCP? Well, they will connect to external LLMs, right? For sure.
Well, certainly we can
Not
have through the AI profile, you are able to connect to external LLMs. Now, we're not using MCP for that. One of the
yeah,
things that I mentioned on the roadmap is to have tools to be able to access remote uh, services via MCP. That is something that we'll be enabling.
right. And then do we have native MCP server as we get with Autonomous? On the Oracle AI database.
The MCP server is available with Autonomous Database Serverless only, or
Yeah,
dedicated region as well, but it's principally serverless.
right. Okay, questions keep coming. Will Select AI queries not need to reach an LLM provider to tap into an LLM model? How should organizations that are concerned with privacy use Select AI?
Privately hosted LLMs that are approved for their organization, deployed fully within their organization's network.
Mhm.
Right,
Could be the
exactly. Yeah,
solution.
right. We have large customers using exactly that, right? So internally deployed LLMs and LLMs that are private, right? Connected only to their network and things like that. Yeah, that's excellent. Okay, introducing new external component may require changes. Oh, for DR solutions. I think everything that we have is so select AI is in database, right? All the components, the agents, definitions are inside the database. So in the case of disaster recovery, you take the other autonomous database, right? And that everything is there. There's not going to be an external,
Yes, that is the
right?
benefit. Yeah. You don't have to worry about scalability or disaster recovery because it's part of your Oracle database strategy.
Okay, one other internal question here. All right, excellent. So there are still a few questions, guys, that I know we were trying to answer. We are going to get back to you by email, okay? Because I need to let these guys go. But again, thank you, Mark, very much for the session.
My pleasure.
If you guys want to take a look at the recordings and everything that I showed you guys today, so you can take a look at the links here that I'm posting there for, again, in the chat, right? If you look at the chat, you got the links there. So you go back to those links. We're going to make sure that every link that you saw, all the PowerPoint, everything is shown. And then everything is already there for you guys, okay? Okay, and then as always, take a look at the site. You see the links there. Upcoming sessions are going to be shown in here. And then all the replays for the previous sessions are there as well. All right? Okay, guys. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mark, again, for joining us. I really appreciate it. And, well, let's hope folks have saved some of the questions for next sessions as well. We're going to make sure that we come back to you guys and do special sessions, potentially on security as well, right? So that's a very common question. So just keep an eye on our sessions there. All right.